Hello and welcome to the final look at roles in tournament PvP from Guild Wars 2 Online. Today we're looking at Farpoint attacking with a Thief build. So I created this build as an alternative to the very popular Venom build. This is very strong 1v1, very strong 1v2. It works by creating a lot of NPC thieves which do a lot of damage, but as well as providing a lot of confusion to the enemy. It will, confusing the player, not the condition confusion. Also a lot of blindness in there as well, some combo field usage, a lot of stealth and a lot of high damage abilities as well. A really good all-round build for Farpoint attacking. I'm going to go through how the build is all set up first, and halfway through this episode we're going to go into a few different clips from a few matches, basically breaking down what went on in that so we can discuss it all. So first of all, we've got the dagger pistol weapon set. This gives us the backstab as our stealth ability, a really strong ability. You just come out of stealth, it deals 1.5k as its raw damage, really strong. A brilliant skill there. Next we've got Heartseeker, again a very strong skill. It does more damage the lower the target's HP, so that's an important thing to take in note when you're actually looking at it. It's also a leap combo finisher, and that's very important as well. Next up, Shadow Shot. This is a projectile finisher. It implies blindness, so that's our first blinding ability there, and also closes the gap to the enemy. Headshot there, very short days. Basically this is just an interrupt. You're going to trigger it to stop an enemy from channeling an ability, perhaps a heal or something like that. And then last up, Black Powder. So this creates a 4-second combo field on the floor. It's also a projectile finisher and inflicts blindness on the enemy because you laid down the smoke field and then fired through it. So we've got 2 blinds in there as well as the smoke field, which will constantly blind anyone standing on it. You also got the leap finisher in there, so if you combine a leap finisher with a smoke field, that will stealth you, and we'll go into that why a little bit more. If you also combine a blast finisher on it, it will actually blow it up and create a AoE stealth for all your allies around you, and you can do that by using this short bow, which is our second weapon. So the key skills here is a cluster bomb there on the number 2. You're not actually going to blow it up, you're just going to fire it directly at your feet, perhaps to trigger the stealth there on the Black Powder to give your team AoE stealth perhaps at the beginning of a match or something like that. And the last ability, Infiltrator Arrow, is hugely powerful, another blinding ability there as well, but it's basically your gap closer, and for travelling around the map it's impeccably good. Disabling Shot is nice as well if you're trying to make a little bit of distance, and it also gives you a poison in there, which is just reducing the heal effectiveness. The damage is going to be minimal, but the reducing their heal is pretty strong. So good all-round weapon choices there. Of course, like all thieves, we have Steal as our mechanic. This shadow steps you to the foe and steals from them. We do boost it up with some traits, and I'll go into that a little bit later. Hiding Shadows we've gone for as our heal, so this is a pretty strong heal that also stealths you and grants you regeneration. Good all-rounder. There aren't really any other options. Withdraw could work, but having the extra stealth in there really helps. And Hiding Shadows is great because you can use it and then actually escape a battle completely by switching into the short bow and using the Infiltrator's Arrow, and we'll see that later when we look at a little bit of escaping and stuff like that in the clips we're going to look at a little bit later on. Our 3 utility skills, Ambush, Assassin Signet and Shadow Step. So Ambush is a must-have. This is part of setting us up with having lots of NPC thieves around us. You've got 2 types of NPC thief. You've got a ranged and a melee one. The melee one is considerably better, has some CC as well as dealing more damage, whereas the ranged one will just repeatedly fire out a fairly weak unload, but it does work as a projectile finisher as well, so it can be useful. Next up we're going for Assassin Signet. This one you can really mix up if you want. Assassin Signet grants you 15% more damage for the next 5 attacks when it's triggered. Fairly good in combination with a bit of a Heartseeker spam to finish an enemy off. Last up, Shadow Step is our panic button. Every Farpoint attack build you should have some sort of panic button, because there will be times where you will probably get ganked pretty hard, and this is a great way to get out of combat. It's a stun breaker, it removes conditions, and it's a long range ability that will get you out of a fight completely. Lastly, for our elite, like I said, we're going to be summoning lots of thieves on a 180-second cooldown. This ability calls in 2 thieves, 1 ranged and 1 melee. Really powerful. When you combine all these 3 thieves with a Black Powder and your damage as well coming in from Heartseeker and Backstab, it's really powerful combination. We're going to see that spike shortly. So next up we're going for the Superior Runes of Divinity in our armour, giving plus 10 to all stats and plus 2% critical damage for each one, so a total of plus 60 to all our stats and plus 12% critical damage. Pretty much the go-to rune for burst damage builds for dishing out quite high damage. The increased critical damage is pretty important because of the amulet choice I made. I'll go into that a little bit later. If you did go for a different amulet choice, you could perhaps mix up this rune, but you do want the critical damage if you're actually going to follow this build to the letter. In our short bow we've gone for the Sigil of Hydromancy. This basically just makes it more of an escape weapon, so when you swap into the short bow and you're trying to escape, you're going to chill the enemies around you and then fire off your Infiltrator's Arrow to escape. It means they're going to be stopped and held back because they're chilled and they can't chase you as effectively, is basically the reason we've gone for that. In the dagger, 30% chance on critical to cause lightning strike, a great ability for fighting single targets. It does pretty solid damage. It actually combines in with the damage of the ability, comes with one big number, so you're going to see some really large crits at times coming in from backstab if it also triggers that at the same time. And then the Sigil of Superior Battle, gain 3 stacks of might for 20 seconds when you swap to this while in combat. That is a Sigil you can mix up if you wish. It's probably not the best choice, there are other options. I quite like it occasionally because I do like to switch out to my short bow sometimes mid-combat just to mix it up a little bit. And then when you switch back into it, it gives you a nice little might stack. But yeah, you can definitely mix it up. Also, if you do find yourself going into combat initially with the short bow, perhaps opening up by laying down some sort of ability, perhaps choking gas or a cluster bomb on the enemy, and then swapping into your other weapon set as you enter combat, it's a great choice to make this as the Sigil of Superior Battle, because then you're going to get that 3 stacks of might as you're going into your normal combo rotation. For the amulet, we've chosen a PvP Knights amulet with a Berserker's Jewel. So this is giving power, precision and vitality, so it actually makes you pretty damn tanky. You can see we've got nearly 20k HP. Our choice of jewel is slightly different. Basically, going for the PvP Knight's Jewel as well as the amulet gives us a bit too much HP and not enough power. So we're going for the Berserker's Jewel, giving us power, and the extra critical damage there is really important. A bit more precision and a little bit of vitality. So still not going complete full out offense, because it does give us that little bit of vitality as well. So all in all, it's giving us some pretty high attack, fairly low condition damage. 52% crit rate, 47% critical damage, so pretty high there all round. Armour is actually fairly reasonable as well because of our trait choices, we'll go into that shortly. And yeah, vitality is pretty high, so all round a fairly solid build. It's got quite high power, but it's still fairly tanky. It's able to handle those 1v1s and those 2v1s effectively, keep yourself alive, and with the assistance, of course, of having all these thieves around you, they're going to be absorbing damage, you're going to be mitigating damage with blindness, you're going to be mitigating damage, you've got a lot of ways to actually drop the enemy's target on you, because if you've dropped Black Powder and then use Heartseeker through it, you will stealth and that will make them drop target on you, so you can avoid damage that way. A really good all-rounder build, I find. We're going to look at the traits up next. So for our traits, we've gone 0, 30, 20, 0, 20. 30 points in critical strikes, getting us critical hit chances increased by 5% to a health that's over 90%, which is helpful but not a massively important thing. It's going to basically give you a little bit more crit chance when you first enter combat. Next up, we've got healing. When activating a signet, gain 5 stacks of might for 5 seconds. This is boosting up the assassin signet. If you did decide to swap the assassin signet out for something else, perhaps haste works quite well with this build as well, or you can perhaps have some sort of other escape ability like blinding powder. You of course would swap this trait out for something else. Next up, critical hits have a 20% chance to restore 1 initiative. We've got a fairly good crit chance, so that's going to help quite considerably there, giving us a bit more crit regen. 10% chance to get quickness for 2 seconds on a critical hit on a 30-second cooldown. This basically is just boosting that initial combat when you first reach a target in those 1v1s. If you're far point attacking, you're often going to be coming up against their defender 1v1, and it's not going to be too regular. It's going to be about every 30 seconds you're going to hit them, so this is going to give you that boost as you first enter combat with them and help quite considerably. 10% increased damage while initiative is over 6. We've got some fairly good ways of keeping our initiative fairly high, and we've also got to boost it up with another trait choice later on, so that's going to help out a little bit there. Deal 20% extra damage when target is below 50% health. So this is a big choice here. You've got 2 options, Executioner, which is that one, or the Hidden Killer, 100% crit chance whilst in stealth. So basically this depends on what way you want to play it. If you want to be stealthing more and relying on backstab, you would perhaps switch that out and go for the Hidden Killer. However, if you're going to be relying on Heartseeker, which I think is more consistent damage, I know it's gimmicky, but it's more consistent damage, it's more on target, it's a combo finisher as well, it's going to give you a lot more stuff coming out of that ability, then you go for this one with a 20% extra damage. It's a personal choice there, and you can really mix it up, and the rest of the build stays exactly the same, just play it how you want to play it. The main reason I also didn't go for Hidden Killer myself is you actually have this detection thing. So basically when you first come out of stealth, you will actually be detected for a short amount of time and you can't re-stealth. If that wasn't there, you could repeatedly combine Heartseeker with the Black Powder there to keep yourself completely in stealth and constantly going Black Powder, Heartseeker, backstab, and then jumping from the smoke field again with the Heartseeker and another backstab. You're constantly critting, but because of that ability in there to basically stop you from being able to re-trigger stealth over and over and over again, is the reason I've gone for this 20% extra damage one. 20 points in Shadow Arts, gaining us. Use Blinding Powder when your health reaches 25%. Definitely a helpful one there for those encounters when you get ganked pretty heavily. Gain 2 initiative while using using a skill that stealths you, so this is absolutely brilliant at basically allowing us to stealth our team at the beginning of a match. So you combine Black Powder with the cluster bomb, and every time it triggers it will actually give you back initiative, so that's going to work really effectively, actually constantly being able to spam that and get a lot of stealth up on your teammates, combined of course with their blast finishers all piling up to give your team a lot of big stealth boosts at the beginning of the match so they can move stealth to begin with. The other important part of that is, of course, you can use Black Powder in combination with Heartseeker, which is going to give us stealth and also do some damage, and then allow us to do backstab, so it's a nice chain of damage as well as applying blindness. That's going to make the actual cost of Heartseeker only 1 initiative, so definitely a good choice there. Stealth skills last 1 second longer, so that's just going to help us all around with all our stealth. And Stealing grants you 2 seconds of stealth, so again, this Shadow line is all about boosting up our stealth quite considerably. And yeah, that's going to basically help us. We can then steal in and backstab as another way, to actually deal out some good high damage. 20 points in Trickery. Stealing gives you 3 initiative, so again, giving us a little bit of initiative regen. When you steal, you and all nearby allies gain Fury, Might and Swiftness for 10 seconds. It's basically boosting up the power of that. The Fury is the main trait in there, and Swiftness of course helps you keep on target. Might helps a little bit, but yeah, 20% increased critical chance is boosting our critical up massively, so that's really good trait choice there. Increase maximum initiative by 3, so this is basically is obviously just a passive one, so it comes in anyway, but it does help up here with our increased damage when we're over a 6, because it's giving us 3 more initiative, so we're above 6 a little bit more often. Stealing grants you and all nearby allies Vigor for 15 seconds and rips up to 2 boons from your target and grants them to nearby allies. So this works really well in conjunction with these summoning up these thieves, because they actually count as allies, so you actually grant them boons when you trigger this ability. So basically you will steal from the enemy, say it's a guardian or something like that, which is very common as a near point defender. They're very strong near point defenders as well. You're going to be attacking their far point, which of course is their near point. So yeah, you're going to go over, you're going to trigger this ability, you're going to summon up your thieves, trigger steal 2 boons from them and grant them to your allies, and get Vigor, so you can be able to dodge a lot more. So really good trait choice there. So we're on the Forest of Niflhel for this match. We can see them going for the Chieftain. We're going to ignore that for the moment, head straight into the Henge and stay on point. Our teammate is a Guardian Roamer who's going to come support us as well, as we enter a 2v2 here. So we're against 2 Guardians, so this is should be a pretty tough fight to really win. So we instantly came in there and we laid down Black Powder, which has inflicted blindness on that first Guardian. Our teammate came in and knocked them off a point, and we managed to basically stop them from getting a complete cap there. They're actually very close to getting it, but this quick conjunction of abilities there stopped them, and we managed to neutralise it slightly, so now we've got slightly bit more breathing room as we enter the proper bit of combat. Summoning up our elite skill, calling those 2 thieves in to assist us. That's going to deal out a lot of damage. We get 1 melee and 1 range thief from that. We laid down our ambush trap just a moment ago, and that's just been triggered as well. So we actually got a second melee thief from that, so we've now got 2 melee thieves, which is a huge amount of damage. They're a lot stronger than the ranged one. They also use the Scorpion War ability, which you just saw the thief on the far left use to actually pull that Guardian in towards us. So you can see his HP just getting eaten up here. We're actually trapped inside the Sanctuary and hardly doing any damage at all, but those thieves are just able to eat him up, and you see him there going down so quickly. He knocks us back, but it's not going to be a problem. We're going to be able to easily deal with him. I take over on keeping this other Guardian distracted and making sure our thieves are dishing out damage on him, and you can see them just eating through his HP so quickly. That was purely our damage on him then, and it took him from about 50% of his HP in a matter of seconds, and that's off a tanky Guardian like this. That's a lot of damage. So the thieves have now vanished, but he's in a fairly bad position. He's got 2 of us on him. He's going to be brought down in good time, and we're going to make a good cap on this point. So good play there from the red team in general. But yeah, the support of our teammate Guardian there really helped. He was able to buff up all of our NPCs with all his shouts and stuff like that, which really helped. So for this next clip, at the moment our roamer is distracted on the other side of the map, and this build is actually fairly effective at stealing bosses as well, making it extra useful on this map because you can pull in a second role in there as well and help out a little bit more for your team. So the Chieftain's up at the moment, and you can see 3 players there from the blue team are trying to bring him down, so it should be a pretty tough steal. We don't forget we don't have Mug on our steal ability, which is generally what thieves would use to steal bosses. You see us just sitting back here, and then gap closing in using steal, following that up with blinding powder, and then basically just dishing out some good damage. We could Heartseeker him here or just deal out normal damage, and we should be able to steal it fairly effectively. The blinding powder basically was laid down to give us a bit of support when we tried to flee in a moment, because they're going to come rushing straight at us and they're not going to want us, so we're basically give us a good chance to get out of dodge quite quickly now. So there we go, we basically tried to escape now. We got the quickness boon kicked in quickly as well, so we did a little bit of damage on that Guardian there. But the field that's around them at the moment, that purple field, has been laid down by the Mesmer and is giving them all a quickness boon. So this could really hurt now if we get ganked pretty hard. We heal up using our Hiding Shadows, a brilliant heal, I've got to say, just a great all-rounder. We swapped into our short bow, which accidentally actually triggered the Hydromancy trait, sigil in there, sorry, which dealt damage then, which knocked us out of stealth, which is unfortunate and something that is a slight problem with that setup, but it's not too often that you really have that problem, and you can still do this combo basically to escape using the Infiltrator Arrow basically to run away. You've also got the Shadow Step ability if you really did want it and you didn't have enough initiative for Infiltrator Arrow. We stealth here, so they sort of lose track of us. You can see them running off around the corner. We also picked up Svanir there on the other side of the map, and now we push back on towards the Henge. So good all-round choices made there, just playing it safe, picking up that quick kill and then getting out. Now we've got a 1v1 against this Guardian, so we're going to see how much burst damage this build really has, and I'm actually going to slow the video down for this clip as we come in. So I'll slow it down. Laying down our ambush there, instantly summoning up the Thief. Basically, you just use it like that just to summon up. You don't really lay it down as a trap as such, you just use it to summon up. Got lucky then again and summoned up the Melee Thief, as we also trigger our elite skill there. 3 Thieves up, 2 Melee Thieves once again in this 1v1. You can see his HP just getting eaten up. We're barely doing anything at the moment. Our Thieves are just dishing out all the damage. We're just laying down some general dishing power, finishing him off. He's in the down state so quickly, and if we actually watch that clip back in full speed, it's absolutely insanely quick. And there we go, you can see him just getting absolutely eaten up. His HP is dropping so quickly, and we're able to comfortably finish him off. So this next clip is a few moments later. We've secured the point itself and basically laid down an ambush trap on there as well, so it's going to summon up a Thief as soon as that player ran on. So we've got a Guardian on there at the moment, and basically this clip's going to just show you how slippery this build can be and how defensive you can actually play it when you need to. Obviously it can't be defensive on spot because it's a Thief build and they generally slippery and just try to escape very effectively, and we're just going to be showing that throughout this clip. I'm going to slow the video down actually because it makes it a little bit easier to see as we go in. So we initiate combat against this Guardian in general, just laying down our blinding powder there, triggering off our, there we go, for the Leaping Death Blossom, sorry not Leaping Death Blossom, Heartseeker, putting us into stealth, and then following up with another Heartseeker there, dishing out some good damage. We could have gone for Backstab, would have dealt more damage, so on a pretty poor choice there. In general, our elite skill is still on cooldown from before. Again, we're using black powder there once again. Heartseeker in as the gap closer. You saw it regenerate some of our initiative as well, and then cycling around back behind them for the backstab. Wasn't quite fully back behind them, not sure if that was the full damage or not. So this Guardian is fairly tanky. We don't have our full damage up because we don't have that elite skill currently activated. They managed to neutralise the point, but basically as a far point attacker, all you're doing is just applying pressure to the enemy, distracting them, keeping them busy. You saw us there also using our Shadow Step ability to get out of that immobilization. And there he's getting distracted, he's going in for that other Thief and trying to bring that down as well. We've got 100 seconds left before our elite skills back up. Again, triggering that Black Powder, Heartseeker, Backstab combination off there. It's absolutely brilliant. It's a drop target, so they're instantly going to drop target. You blind them, so when they actually get the next hit off you, it doesn't even hit. And also you deal some pretty good damage. It's great. It's a great little all-rounder of damage. But you can see actually the thing I said about earlier, when you become detected when you come out of stealth, down in our boon and buff section and condition section, you can see it on there. That little eye means you're detected, so you can't stealth again until that vanishes, which is a bit of a shame really. It means you can't really chain the stealth. I mean, I get it's obviously to balance the build, and builds like this will be really strong if you didn't have that in there. We've got second players coming now, so we've got a Necromancer and a Guardian. This is going to cause some problems, so we heal up and lay down our Thief trap, so summon up our Thief. So basically the idea there is just to distract them, just make them think that Thief is us. It does say Thief above his head, but you'll be amazed how many people just start focusing on the NPCs just because they look a bit like you. We're instead, we've got Hiding Shadows up at the moment, we're just basically running away. Swap out to our short bow in a moment, I believe, there we go, and then using Infiltrator Arrow to escape. So we got highly pressured there, and it would have gone very badly for us if we'd hung about for too long, but we managed to escape comfortably. They're focusing on our Thief, as you can see, it worked there, we managed to distract them with that. So we're cycling back around now, hopefully just trying to keep them distracted. Perhaps they're just focused on the other Thief that didn't notice us, and we might be able to get back on point. Unfortunately, you did see a player just on the far left-hand side then, which I didn't notice while playing. We could see the Elementalist coming in there. This is going to cause some problems once again. So we're coming back on point. We're too committed to actually getting back on point now, so we don't really have much of a choice. Got unfortunately running too far back there as well, and triggering those marks was a bit of a shame. Shouldn't really have done that. Should have stayed on the front of the point a little bit better. 2-1 again, using the Heartseeker backstab over the smoke field there to get the stealth. Really nice little combination. It's just a great all-rounder for damage mitigation and some pretty solid damage as well. Hiding in shadows once again, and we've got to escape once again. Too much pressure. That is one of the downsides, of course, with most farpoint attacking builds. You're applying pressure, but when they bring some critical mass to that point, it can cause you some issues. With this build, if you do have your elite skill up, you can actually handle those 2v1s fairly effectively. If you've got one player down a little bit first of all, if you've got them beaten up a little bit to begin with, you can do it fairly effectively. But if they bring too much pressure and too early on and you don't have that elite skill up, you will have to just basically escape. But this build can do that without dying, as you're seeing us do right now. I'm going to speed the video up a little bit, and you can basically just see what we did. So we've basically pulled them up to this point. We pulled them off there, basically just tricked them. They followed us all the way up here. We were able to comfortably escape. They got tunnel vision on us. Our teammates are jumping in there and able to bring him down and scare him off quite quickly. So he's wasted a load of time. We managed to keep the pressure up and stop them from perhaps going for the keep or going for the mine. We managed to basically just keep the pressure on them, keep them scared, and keep them running. This basically concludes now our episode looking at the strategy analysis. On Wednesday, we're going to have another episode breaking down farpoint attacking. We're going to have basically all the information on how to create a build for farpoint attacking, different tips and tactics for it, map specific for different maps. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. Thank you all very much.